Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today here with a water propagation that I have been propagating for a couple of weeks now, and you can see it has definitely paid off. Quite a nice root mass has already formed on this tree, and I want to pot this up today. And I don't just want to pot this up in a big pot, I actually want to use a little self-made Mame pot made out of polymer clay, and we're going to use that and create a little tree out of this. We're also going to wire this a little bit, so create some shape, and then we're going to pot this up. So we will definitely transform this little tree here today a little bit and simply see where it will take us by simply applying a little bit of wire, maybe a little bit of pruning. And then we're going to pot this up in this little Mame pot. So first of course we have to take it out of the water. I have prepared a little wet paper towel here in which we're gonna wrap the roots so they're gonna stay nice and moist while we work on this tree. So making sure to just wrap the roots down here, leave the rest of the tree free, because as we said, we want to work a little bit on it, wire it a little bit. So for that, we of course still have to have access to it. Let's take a little look on this tree. You can see healthy foliage, new growth forming. That always is a good sign when your propagation actually starts to grow again. And I took this from a pre-existing tree, simply a cutting when I did some pruning on this tree, and it has rooted and definitely is ready to pot up. The thickness, of course, as it is just a cutting, isn't best, but I think it is just a nice little small experiment we can use for showcasing a little work on a ficus tree like this. So what are we going to do? We're going to apply some wire. I have some 2mm wire right here. You can see it's a bit taller than the tree, so this should be enough to actually wrap around this tree, and then we're gonna bend this into form. So we have nothing really to hook this on, so no two-branch principle. I'm just going to make sure we start from quite low on this tree, and then we wrap this as tightly as possible around this tree. Here you can see this is a dead branch, so we can remove this later when we maybe even also go a little bit into pruning still. But for now, let's make sure we wrap this wire around this tree without damaging too much foliage. For example, here a leaf we can make sure to leave out. And continue up here, and then we already are at the top of the tree here. So we have applied the wire, and now we have to think, how do we actually want to wire this? Right now it's just a straight stick, so definitely we need some movement. So we can actually just take this and just bend this a little bit and twist it, and creating something a little bit more interesting this way. So something really three-dimensional, making sure we have something a little bit more interesting here. Now this would be at the inner bend, but we have two branches here that are close to each other, so we might even still move this a little bit to have it more on the outer bend, both of them, creating something definitely more interesting. And when we then prune it, for example here a little bit, this could definitely turn into something quite nice looking. So we might still want to bend it even a little bit further down here, just giving it still a little bit more shape and really bend it. The good thing about ficus is it is so malleable, so you can see how much you can bend this and it's still totally fine and didn't snap anywhere. So really nice to always work on ficus. That's why I also like it as a genus in general, because it's so easy to work on it. So next step would then already be placing it in the pot that we have prepared here. So I have this little pot, this a little bit further back so we can actually see it properly, and we're going to pot this in here. So now we can of course remove again the wet paper towel. We just needed that to keep them moist until we place it. And it would be a little bit too low if we place it fully in here, so let me already get some soil. And we just fill in some soil here, create a little mound. So let's go ahead and place our tree like this. And now we have to wire this in. So we'll put one wire on one side of the tree, and the other wire on the other side of the tree, and try to just tie this in, giving it a little bit of stability. So you can see, for example, if I would lift this now, doesn't fall out, which is already good. Then we can of course still work on how we really want to adjust this tree in here a little bit in a couple of seconds, but for now let's fill the rest of this pot with soil. I again use inorganic soil. This is my go-to mixture by now. Just all my trees are doing very well in this mixture. So let's fill this up. Making sure the tree also is positioned in a way that we think fits. And then we should still work a little bit on the branches here. And for that, I simply get my scissors ready, because we do have a lot of growth here that is going a little bit crazy, I would say now. We have some here at the inner bend, for example, that we might have to remove. Otherwise, we could still, of course, adjust our bend here a little bit. So if we focus the bend a little bit more like this goes more to an outer part even. So we could let this grow outwards here, making sure we have more of some movement already from down here. And let me adjust this a little bit. And that looks good. So it's growing a bit upwards now. So we just make sure we place this a little bit further down, or do we actually take it out? We do have the growth here. Now let's keep it on for now. I mean, there's not that much growth anyway. I can see here a new branch forming. This one is very long and very leggy. So this one would actually shorten. We have here a little back branch. There is some dieback on this back branch. I've seen this before. So let's take this out, as well as the dieback we mentioned also previously in this video. This part here is growing a little bit downwards right now, but we can simply adjust this by once again going in here a little bit in this band, just moving this a little bit upwards, quite more of an upwards growth. Here this we should probably even maybe wire out in the future. For now I would let it grow. That could definitely be something that we still have to wire out. Those two are a little bit in parallel here. And to be honest, I think the one further down here is fitting the overall tree better than the one up here. So, to be honest, I will take out this branch. Maybe a new one will form here that will fit better. Keep in mind, we left the one here on in the back, this tiny little one. This one will fill out this area still, but for now, the other one, I think, didn't really bring anything to the table here. This new growth here is also a little bit leggy, so I will just tip prune, which also should encourage the tree to also focus on those lower branches here a little bit, still putting energy in creating new foliage here. But you can see a little tree created quite fast, a little Mame tree. Of course, still very much in the beginning of the process, but I thought just a nice little project to show you today. What you can do with little propagations that you have that are already starting to mature a little bit at least. Why not sometimes, instead of making sure they really grow into big trees that you work on, why not just use the small propagation and try to turn something like that into a Mame bonsai? So of course, at the moment, not much yet, but with more foliage, this will still improve in looks also. We gave it some shape already, and I think we can work on this a bit more in the future still. I will keep you updated on this. If you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you enjoy my channel, of course, feel free to subscribe to it. Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.